Okay, so today we continue with our example 7b. So we have done until 7a where we have it finding the mean, median and mode for the group data. Okay, so for the 7b, the same pattern, which is we need to find the mean, median and mode. So as you can see, for the mean, we need the summation of f, we need the summation of fx, and then for the median, we need cf, and then for the mode, we need f, small f. Okay, so you have to add up the new column and the new row for the each class. So for the fx, we need the x, which is midpoint, and then we have it here will be your f, and then we need fx, and then we need cf. Okay, so finding the midpoint first. So basically here we can have 4.5, 44.5, and then here for 54.5. So we can see the pattern. So directly we add up by 10. And then here's 94.5. Okay, so to finding the fx, which is we have to times the x with the f. So literally here we have it 276, 2871.5, 10355. And then here we have a quite large number, which is 19608. 15719.5, and then another two which is 7182.5, and then the last one which is 1890. Okay, for the CL, which is we have to add up the frequency one by one from the left to the right. So here we starting with the 8 plus 87, we're gonna have 95, and then here we're gonna have 285, 589, 800, and then here 885, and then here will be 905. Okay, can someone calculate for me for the sum of summation fx? Summation fx kita dapat apa? Totalkan please.
5,
5,
8, 9,
8, 9.
0, 2.5.
Okay, good. Alright, so this one which is summation for fx. So starting with the mean, which is average, summation fx over summation f. So the summation of f, which is this one. So this one we call it as summation f. Here will be summation fx. So substitute into the formula, we're going to have 58902.5 over 905. So directly we're going to have 65.09. Okay, so as I told you before, this table, the whole thing with the new column and the new row, you have to put in your solution table. Okay, so once you put the value here in the table, so no need to add up into the formula. So directly kamu boleh terus pakai sum yang kamu dah cari, masukkan dalam formula. Okay, so that will be the mean. Okay, for the median, what should we do the first time before we use the formula? Sorry? What should we get? What should we do? You have to find
Lower.
That one will be the formula, right? Before you substitute into the formula, you need to find the median class.
Total apa tu bagi 2? Total fx bagi 2.
Oh, total fx? Total fx or total f?
F.
Okay, so we have it. Or to find the observation, which is 905 divided by 2. So you are going to have it 452.5. So 452.5, it lies on this class. Okay, which is on the fourth class. So your lower boundary, we're gonna have, since we have a gap here, so end up 59.5, which is we add up 59 with the 60, divide by 2, and then we have it n over 2, which is this one, 452.5. So directly you put into the formula, minus with the cumulative frequency class before, which is 285, divide by frequency of the class, which is 304, and then the class width. What our class width for this one? Class width kita apa?
9.
9? Is it 9? Okay, because the upper boundary, which is, let's say we take it this one 69.5, the lower boundary here will be 59.5. So your class width will be 10. Okay, find the value for the median, please. Kita dapat berapa?
65.01.
65.01. Good. So make sure 4 significant figure. Okay. Alright. So for the mode, we are looking for the small f. So the highest frequency, which is on the same class with the median class, coincidentally. So we are going to have it the lower boundary, which is 59.5 as well, plus with the D1. So D1 will be equal to 304 minus with the previous one, which is 190, and then the D2, which is after. So 304 minus 211. Okay, so the D1 we're gonna have
114.
114, and then the D2, which is
93.
93.
Okay, good. So we add up 114 divided by 114 plus 93, and then we have the same class width, which is 10. So directly your mode will be 65.01 as well. Okay, dapat? Okay, everyone okay?
Okay, Miss.
Okay, Miss.
Alright.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, good. So the next one, which is quartile and percentile for the group data. Okay, for the quartile and percentile, first step, we have to find the observation. Okay, so find the observation, which is for the quartile, we have to divide by 4 times with the n, and then percentile, we have to times with the percent and n. Okay, so once you have the observation, you have to determine the quartile class or percentile class. So both we are looking or we refer to the CF column. Okay, kita akan refer kepada CF column, and then we need to use the formula which is needed the cumulative frequency. So untuk quartile dan juga percentile, dalam table kamu hanya perlu add up CF. Okay, so let's say we go through directly for the 7C. So we have to find the interquartile, which is unit Q3 and Q1. And then we have to find the 27 percentile and 70 percentile. Okay, so as I told you before, we need the CF. So find the CF first. So we add up a new column. So we're gonna have 24 here, will be 38, and then we're gonna have 77, and then 95, and then will be 100. So make sure your summation F will be the same as given in the question. Okay, alright, so starting with the Q1, so you have to find the observation first, which is 100 divided by 4. So we're gonna have observation yang ke-25. Okay, so 25 is lies on the second class. Sebab first class dia tak sampai lagi, dia hanya sampai 24. Kamu punya data 25, so dia akan lies on the second column. The second class. So your formula will be, so lower boundary for this one. Lower boundary untuk second class kita apa? Lower boundary 9.5. Good. Since we have a gap, so here will be 9.5 plus, so directly you use this one, which is 25, minus with cumulative class before, which is 24, divide by frequency of itself, which is 14, and then we have to times with C, which is class width. So class width, we're gonna have 19.5 minus with 9.5. So we're gonna have 10. So your Q1 will be 10.21. Okay. So the Q3. So find the observation first. So we're gonna have 3 times 100 divided by 4. So obviously we get observation yang ke-75. So 75, it lies on the third class. Okay, sebab second class baru sampai 38. Kamu punya data adalah 75. So dia akan jatuh pada third class. So your formula, so starting with the lower boundary which is 19.5 plus with 75 minus cumulative class before 38 divided by frequency of itself which is 39 and then times with 10. So directly we're gonna have berapa nilai kita dapat? Kita dapat nilai dia adalah
18.99.
28.99. Okay? 18? 18 or 28?
28.
28.
Okay. Alright, so from these two values, we're gonna have the IQ, which is interquartile, which is Q3 minus Q1. So directly we have 28.99 minus 10.21. So you're gonna have the range, which is 18.78. Okay, so we have done finding the interquartile. Now to find the percentile, which is 27. So we have to find the observation first. So 27 over 100 times with your your cumulative F, which is 100 as well. So directly we have observation yang ke-27. So 27 lies on the second column. It lies on here. Okay, so the formula will be the same, which is we're gonna have 9.5 for the lower boundary plus, so we are taking this value which is 27 minus cumulative class before will be 24 divided by the frequency itself 14 times 10. Okay, so find the value for this one. Akan dapat berapa? Berapa nilai dah?
11.64.
Sorry?
11.64.
11.64. Okay. Alright, so the next one which is percentile 70. So obviously we get observation yang ke-70. So 70 lies on the third row or the third class. So we have it, the lower boundary will be 19.5 plus. So we are taking the 70 here. 70 minus with 38 divided by itself frequency, we can have 39 times 10. So the value for P70 will be
27.71.
27.71. Okay, thank you. Alright, so we have done 7C. Now we proceed with 7D, where we have it the cumulative frequency distribution. So kalau 7C, dia bagi table range dan juga interval dan juga frequency. But for 7D, the table given is for the interval and CF, which is CF represent cumulative frequency. So as you can see, we need frequency as well for the quartile. So you have to find your F first. So here will be 0. So to find the second class frequency, we're going to have 1 minus 0 will be 1. And then here 5 minus 1, we get 4. And then the fourth one, which is 27 minus 5, we get 22. And then here 62 minus 27. We are having 35. Okay, and then this one will be 20. And then last one will be 8. Okay, that's how we find the frequency. Okay, as you can see from the first column, we don't have any frequency, right? So you can directly cancel out for this rate, this interval. So dia akan start pada second interval, which is 15 to 20. So yang ini tak perlulah. Okay. Alright, so to find the quartile, starting with finding the observation, which is x, your n will be 90. So this one is the summation of f. So 90 divided by 4, we're gonna have x, which is 22.5. Okay, so your Q1 will be lies on here. Dia akan jatuh pada this column. Sebab kamu, it lies on this column. Kita refer kepada CF kan? So when we talk about quartile, kita akan refer kepada CF. So yang jatuh adalah 22.5, dia terletak pada third class. Okay, so we're gonna have the lower boundary will be 24, 25. Since we don't have any gap here, so we're gonna have 25 as the lower boundary, plus with 22.5, which is we find from here, minus with the cumulative class before, which is 5, divided by the frequency of the class itself, we have it 22, and then we need to find the class width. So class width kita berapa? Your class width, which is
5.
5, which is 30 minus 25, right? We get 5. So here will be 5. So Q1 will be 28.98. Okay, and then the Q3. So finding the observation, so we're gonna have 3 times 90 over 4. So we are going to have it the observation 67.5. So 67.5, it lies on this column. Okay, because here only 62, dia tak sampai lagi 67.5. So dia akan jatuh pada the next class. Okay, so your lower boundary, obviously we have it 35. Plus with 67.5 minus cumulative class before, which is 62. Divided by the frequency itself, 20. And then times 5, we're gonna have the value here will be 36.38. Okay. Percentile, 35. Macam mana starting? Kita nak cari P35. Starting kita apa?
35 over 100.
So 35 over 100 times with
90.
90. So you are going to have it the observation which is 31.5. So 31.5 is lies on this column. Because on the previous column we have only up to 27. But here we have 31.5. So it lies on the class for 30 to 35. So the lower boundary will be 30 plus 31.5 minus cumulative class before 27 over the frequency of itself, which is 35 times 5 for the class width. Okay, so finding that one, berapa nilai dia? Nilai dia adalah nilai P35. Berapa nilai dia?
30.64.
30.69.
30.69
69.
or 64?
64.
64.
Okay. All right. So here will be observation for 67, percentage 67. We have it observation 60.3. So 60.3, it lies on the same class with the P35 as well, but we will have it the different for the and 60.3 here. So lower boundary sama 30 plus, so yang berubah dekat bahagian sini which is 30.3 minus 27 over frequency sendiri adalah 35 times 5. So walaupun dia lies on the same class, yang membezakan dia adalah bahagian ini. Okay, so the value here we will get 34.76. Okay, so that's how we find for the percentile and quartile for the group data. So now the next one, which is exercise 7. So that will be your exercise for your own. So we're gonna have DIY for this one. So the question asks to find average, median, mode, third quartile, and percentile. Okay, so for average, you need summation fx and summation f. For the median and mode, you need CF and small f. And then for the quartile and percentile, also you need CF and small f. So you have to add up the new column or the new row for the fx and CF. And also for the median. So you have to add up median x, and then here we have f. So finding the fx and then finding the CF. Okay. So make sure dalam solution mesti ada table ni, so that kamu senang untuk masukkan dalam formula. Okay, so the next, which is the last subtopic for chapter 6, which is measures of dispersion. So when we talk about dispersion, it involves with variance and standard deviation. So taburan data. Okay, so taburan data, how spread out the values in the data. So basically, if you have all the data close to the mean, okay, and you're gonna have the standard deviation close to the 0. And if the data, lots of data far from the mean, your standard deviation will far from the 0. And if your data equally with the mean, the standard deviation will be equal to 0. Okay, so that will be the concept and definition. Okay, if we have a large standard deviation, we can conclude that your data will be more dispersed and then less consistent, which is if you put as in graph, so kalau jarak dia semakin jauh, so this one will be more dispersed and less consistent. If we have the data close to each other, so we call it as consistent data. Okay, alright, so to find variance and standard deviation for both data, okay, so you need to find the summation x and summation x squared. Okay, for the ungroup, we need to find summation x and summation x squared. Okay, and also we needed the n value. Okay, so we have it, the variance here, formula, which is summation x squared minus summation x squared outside, divided by n, and then the whole thing divided by n minus 1. And for the standard deviation, you have to square root the value here. So kita akan dapat standard deviation. Okay, so let's say we go through for the example 8a. So starting, we need to find the value for n. So value for n di sini adalah 12. Okay, so summation x and summation x square, hasil tambah ini mesti ditulis. Walaupun kamu pakai calculator, dalam solution mesti tunjuk tambah ni. Okay, and then summation x, what should we get for the summation x here? Berapa kita akan dapat? Tambahkan. Saya nak panggil orang. Siapa? Eldon. Summation x dapat berapa, Eldon?
Sedang kira, Miss.
Okay, sedang kira. Yang lain standby.
Uh, 267.
Okay, good. 267. Alright, summation x square. Saya nak panggil Hafiq. Al-Hafiq Fikri. Summation x square apa, Hafiq? Summation x square. Hafiq, are you there? Al-Hafiq 32.
Miss.
Berapa summation x square?
8,553.
8,000. Okay, good. Thank you. Alright, so now we found the three values here. So directly we can substitute into the formula, which is summation x squared 8553 minus 267 square, divide this part with the 12, and then the whole thing we have to divide by 12 minus 1, we have 11. So the value here we're gonna have 237.47. So that one will be your variance. To find the standard deviation, we're gonna have to square root your variance. So we are going to have it the standard deviation, which is 15.41. Okay, so that's how to find the variance and standard deviation. Okay, second part, where we have it in terms of table, but we don't have any interval. So that's represent the ungrouped data. So the same thing, you have to find the n. So obviously from the row and column here, we're gonna have your n, which is 20. So we have 10 columns and 2 rows. So directly we have 20. So summation x and summation x square must show the add up solution here. Okay, summation x dapat berapa? Tak apa. Summation x, saya nak panggil. Putri. Summation x apa Putri?
Let me.
Berapa dapat?
One five zero.
Huh? 150? Really? Kenapa saya dapat lain? Is it 150? The others?
229.
No, no,
29 miss.
Okay, 229. Good. Putri kira balik, takut salah key in. Okay. Alright, summation x square. I would like to call Tanushri. Summation x square. What should we get, Tanushri? Summation x square. Tanushri dapat berapa? Sorry?
Tengah kira.
Tengah kira. Okay.
Uh, 3230.
3230? Okay. Yang lain?
3230.
230? Summation x square. Yang lain dapat berapa?
3230.
300, 3230 Tanushri. Kita dapat lain.
3204.
3204.
3671.
3671. Yes, 3671. Make sure key in value betul. Salah key in habis. Okay. So the value for summation x square will be 3671. So directly substitute into the formula where we have it 3671 minus 229 square, the whole thing divided by 20. And then here we have it 119. Okay, and then we're gonna have your variance, which is, dapat berapa variance kamu? Your variance will be
8.8147.
8.81.
47.
Is it 8? 47? Okay. Ada dapat nilai lain tak?
29%.
29? Okay, ni lagi lain.
52.81.
8.81. Sorry, berapa?
52.45.
52. Okay, kejap.
55.21.
55.21. Okay, so maybe something wrong dengan kamu punya calculation, which is yang bawah ni adalah, sorry, this one should be 19, right? Bukan 119, sorry. 19 here. 19. Okay, sebab dia tolak 1 kan? So here will be 19. So you will get 55.21. Okay, for the standard deviation, we have it square root 55.21. So we are going to have it, the standard deviation will be 7.430. Okay, yang lain dapat tak? Yang tak dapat tu kira balik, takut salah calculate.
Dah miss. Lagi
Okay.
dah.
Alright, okay. So the next one, which is example 8B. So the question already provide the summation x and summation x squared. So you just have to calculate the mean and the standard deviation. So as you can see here, it's given the n here. So n will be 12, summation x there, summation x squared there. So can we directly find the mean and standard deviation? Boleh kira terus?
Boleh.
Okay, so summation mean will be summation x over the n, which is 2502 divided by 12. And then the standard deviation where we have it square root of summation x squared, so 52526.8 minus 2502 square divided by 12 and then the whole thing divided by 11. Okay, so cari dulu nilai mean, kita dapat berapa?
208.5.
208.5. Okay, standard deviation kira dulu dalam square root. Tinggalkan dalam bentuk square root dulu. Berapa dalam square root tu? Nilai dia adalah, you can have it in term of fraction as well. Should be no problem. Dalam square root kita dapat
327.25.
327.25. Kalau fraction dapat tak?
3599 over 11.
Over 11. Okay. Ada nilai lain?
9 over 55.
17999 over
55.
55. Okay. So this is the correct answer. Okay. So you have to square root the whole thing here. So we're gonna have your standard deviation will be 18.09. Okay. So untuk standard deviation, pastikan kamu masuk dalam formula and we put square root. But this step jangan tinggal. Mesti tulis. Step ni tak boleh tinggal. Okay, which is we need to see the value variance before you put the final answer for the standard deviation. Okay, step ni step penting. Okay, alright, so that one will be example 8B. So exercise 8 will be your DIY as well. So now we can proceed with the finding variance and standard deviation for the group data. So more like the same pattern, which is we have to find the summation fx and summation x. Because for the ungroup, kamu hanya ada summation x dan x square. But for the group data, we add up with the frequency. So you have to find the n, you have to find the summation fx, and then you have to find the summation fx squared. So since we have the x here, so you have to put the new column, which is the x here, the new column for fx, and then the new column with fx squared. Okay, so let's say we go through for this one first. So your first midpoint will be 31.5, 36.5, 41.5, and then this here we can see the pattern which is add up with the 5. So we're gonna have 46.5, 51.5, 56.5, and then the last one will be 61.5. Okay, so finding the fx, which is we have to times the frequency with the x, we're gonna have here will be 252. I already calculate this one for you. This 1751 here, 1299.5, and then the last one we have it 307.5. Okay, that's how we find the fx. So to find the fx square, it's mean the values in the fx you have to times with the x once again. Kamu kena darabkan x lagi sekali. Okay, so we get the fx square by 7938. And then the second class where we have it 25312.75. So the value will be more, will be quite large for this one. I'm going to tulis lah. Which is the best way, which is we need to put at least 2 decimal places for this one. So here will be 25. We will 0 here. So 90176.50. 73421.75. And then here 18911.25. Okay. Can someone calculate for me for the summation fx and summation fx square, please? To find the sum for the column fx and column fx square. What should we get for the fx?
Nine two five five.
9255 for fx square. For the fx square, we're gonna have
437290.
437290. Okay. For the n, berapa nilai n kita? Because you have to add up the all frequency here. So the n will be equal with
200.
okay, 200. Okay, so this one represent n, summation fx square. So for the variance, which is sigma square, so we're gonna have 437290 minus 9255 square the whole thing divided by the n, which is 200, the whole thing divided by 199. Okay, so we are going to have the variance, which is 45.009. Okay, so I take the extra few decimal places so that we can have it your sigma, which is square root 45.3009. And then I put the last answer as in 4 significant figure. So we can have this one. Okay, so far so good, everyone.
Okay, Miss.
Alright, so
Okay,
the next
Miss.
one, part B, where we have it. So as you can see here, oh yeah, wait, semua saya terlupa. Okay, for this table, we can see from 29 to 34, 34 to 39, 39 to 44. So if you change to be normal interval, dia akan jadi seperti ini. 29 to 34, 34 to 39, 39 to 44, 44 to 49, 49 to 54, 54 to 59, and 59 to 64. Even though you only have it the equal sign for this one. Untuk bahagian akhir, limit akhir saja yang ada equal sign, dia tetap akan termasuk. Okay, so dia tak akan ada gap. So this one will be the guidance for your tutorial question. So whenever we see this kind of table, dia akan tanpa gap, without gap. Okay. Alright, so this one, the next, which is part B. So the same pattern, we have to add up the new things, which is your midpoint. But this table give or provide the CF instead of F. So you have to find the F first. So finding the F, we're gonna have 3 here. So 8 minus 3, we have 5. So 22 minus 8, we have 14. 41 minus 22, we have 19. And then 69 minus 41, 28. And then 87, 69, which is 18. Then here 10. And then last one will be 3. Okay, so as you can see, we don't have any frequency for the first class. So directly you can cancel out the first class here. So we terus potong. So it will be start with the interval 3.8 to 3.89. Okay, for the midpoint, the first one which is 3.745. Here will be 3.845. And then we can see the pattern there. So we just add up with 0.1. And then lastly will be 4.445. Okay, finding the fx, finding the fx square. Okay, saya bagi kamu 2 minit cari fx dan juga fx square.
Miss, yang X dia tu bukan yang first 3.845 kah?
Ya, saya salah, betul. Saya pula salah. Sekejap saya betulkan. Thank you. Apa yang tegur tadi? This one will be maybe 7, 5 here, 8, 5 here, 8, 4, 5, 9, 4, 5, 4, 0, 5, 4, 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. Okay, alright, cari dulu fx dan fx square. Dah siap? You done? Okay, slowly. For the fx, first fx, what should we get?
11.54.
54. Okay. I make it as in 3 decimal places because the last part we're gonna have 2 decimal places. So I make it this one as in 535. Okay. So here will be 19.7.
725.
Okay. The third one, 56.630.
630.
Okay. And then here will be 78.755. And then here 118.86. 78.210. 44.450, isn't it?
Yeah, Miss.
Okay, and then the last one will be 13.65. Okay, finding the sum. The sum will be for the fx. The fx, summation for fx kita dapat apa? Summation fx. Berapa summation fx?
308.54.
308?
0.54.
454. Ada yang dapat value lain?
527.
421.
421.
421.80, isn't it? 80? Okay, so here will be 197.580 and then 61.971. So summation fx square. Kita dapat berapa?
1781.608.
1781.08.
608.
Okay. So directly substitute into the formula, we're gonna have 1781.608 minus with the 421.8 square. Okay, so obviously we have the n here. This one is your n. So we can have divided by 100. The whole thing must be divided by n minus 1, which is 99. So the variance we're gonna have 0.02482. Betul? Yang belakang ni ada berapa? Kalau kita bagi 5 decimal, 5 significant figure, kita dapat berapa? 0.0248. Kalau nak 5 significant figure. This one baru 4. Berapa sepatutnya kita dapat?
0.024804.
804? 0.0248. Belakang ni
Salah kira.
Kita kira balik, betul tak? Di antara belakang ni 0 ataupun ada nilai lain. Berapa? 0.02
2404.
0.0248
04.
04.
Tiada
Betul? Betul?
tu-nya.
Tiada
Tiada
tu.
tu.
Okey, tiada tu. Yang ini?
Ya, Miss.
Okay. Alright, so the standard deviation we're gonna have square root of 0.024804. So it's gonna be your standard deviation equal to
0.157.
7? 5? 5
5.
or 6?
5.
Okay. So 4 significant figure. Okay. So basically that's how we solve for this one. Okay, last one, which is example 9b. Satu lagi last. Okay. So the rest we continue next week. Okay, so 9b, where we have it two data, series A and series B. So it means you have to find for both series. So you have to add up with the x, fx and fx squared. So let's say we make it for the series A first. Series A, so x, f, fx and fx squared. So this one series B for the x, f, fx and fx squared. So for the series, for the x will be the same thing since we have the same interval. So we have 15, 25, 35, 45, 55 and 65. This one the same thing. Okay, for the frequency, for the series A, we have 10, 16, 30, 40, 26 and 18. It will be 22, 18, 32, 34, 18 and 16. So finding the fx for series A first. So we're going to have it 150, 400, 1050, 1880, 1430, and then here will be 1170, Okay, saya bagi nilai, kamu kira total dia berapa. Okay, so that one will be the first series. Sum berapa? Sum for fx.
60.
6080.
6080. Ini. Betul? Oh. Kenapa? Dia pelik je. Okay, tak apa. Alright. Okay, summation fx square.
206050.
206.
284700.
284700. Okay. So summation f kita dapat apa?
140.
140. Okay. Alright. Summation for fx series B. So 330 450 1120 1530 990 1040. And then we have this one 67 600. Okay. So summation f here will be the same thing, 140. fx kamu dapat berapa?
5460.
5460. Summation fx square. We starting with
246300.
246300. Okay. So directly we can find the summation. Since the question asks which series is more consistent, so it's all about standard deviation. So you have to find standard deviation for the A first. So we have square root 284700 minus 6080 square divided by 140 divided by 139. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna have the value. Berapa nilai dia? Kita akan dapat dalam square root 1
48.59.
148.59. Yang lain dapat? Betul?
Yeah, miss.
Okay. Alright, so the standard deviation we're gonna have berapa? Nilai dia adalah
12.190.
2.1
12.
12.9
12.190. 190.
190. Okay. That one will be for the data A, series B, which is square root of 246300 minus 5460 square divided by 140 divide the whole thing with 139. Okay, so I make it the square root a bit longer and larger. Okay, so inside the square root, what should we get?
240.
240. Okay, so directly your standard deviation we're gonna have 15.49. So which one is consistent? More consistent?
A.
A.
A, miss.
Okay. Alright, good. So since the standard deviation A is smaller than standard deviation B, so series A is more consistent than series B. Okay? Right? Are you okay so far?
Okay, Miss.
Yes,
Okay, good.
Miss.
Okay.
Alright, so exercise 9 for your own DIY. So the last part for chapter 6, we will continue on the next lecture next week.